So what we're working on today is replacing the cigarette lighter and 12 volt lighter with an embedded 12 volt charger, because as you know, there is a cigarette lighter that goes here. Nobody smokes anymore. It's kind of a pointless relic of the 90s and it looks stupid. And then there's another one here. It's a 12 volt, so you can use it to plug in, you know, other devices and things if you use an adapter. But then you have this big adapter sticking out way up here. It makes no sense. So what I've been doing is opening these up so that we can put in some actual phone chargers. So that's over there. Go to the workbench. So what I've been working on is just got a Dremel tool with this little sander bit here. It's the round one. So just spin this up, and then all you really do is, so these just got on Amazon, is like 2 for $25. They're really cheap, but they're embedded, and they actually have a nut that goes onto it, so we'll pull it tight, and then make it look like it was kind of embedded in the system from the factory. So then it just has a little flip top, and then you've got a USB Type A, and then a pair of USB Type C chargers. And then it has a cool little light ring that lights up in blue if you want to use it that way. But when you're not using it, then you can just flip the top back on, and it kind of blends back into it naturally. So I've got 2 of them here. We'll wire them up in just a minute. I worked on first the cigarette lighter piece, which is in the center console, lowered by the shifter. So it's drying right now. I just painted it, but you do have to grind this out. So it took me a good, I don't know, 10-15 minutes of slowly grinding back one layer after another to get to a bigger circle, because the factory circle is not big enough. You have to grind that back, grind it back to be wide enough to accommodate these aftermarket ones, which I'll link in the description. So that's ready. This one, I'm almost ready. I've got a couple more passes to do to grind this out. It's not perfectly even, you can see. It doesn't really matter, because this has a collar that will come in and help with any minor, very minor imperfections. So don't go crazy, just take your time, go slow if this is a thing you want to do. But you can see here's the old cigarette lighter, which, you know, I remember this from my mom's old Eclipse, playing around with this thing, which I shouldn't have been doing as a kid, but I did. They're just useless. Nobody needs these things anymore. So we're gonna up the utility by putting in phone chargers. Okay, we're all set. I feel like I should mention before you started, make sure you're wearing protective gear. So I have this face mask that I use with it for the moment. I'll just keep it here anytime I need it. Make sure you have gloves with leather tips, especially when you're working on the metal. The metal throws a lot of sparks, so you've got to have gloves on, welder's gloves or something heavy duty with some leather on it. Otherwise you're going to burn yourself. But you can see it's kind of messy right now. But if you take our little thing here, I've just slowly, it's not perfectly symmetrical, but that's okay, it doesn't need to be. But just work slowly on this. Don't try to rush it. That would be bad, because if you slip too much and make too big of a gap, that's going to be a problem. But see, we just made it big enough here. This will now slip in, so now it looks like we have a factory phone charger built into the center console. All right, so we've got the plastic nut all tightened down. Made sure that was straight. So when you look at it like this, it looks like, you know, there's a factory USB charger that came with the Mitsubishi. So it's a very cool look. So it comes with these, or this is one that goes in the other slot. So it comes with these wiring pieces. We're not going to need anywhere near this much wire, and we're not going to use these ends. So I'm not sure why this is in line. Do a little investigation here, but we're going to clip this and then solder this into the factory lines, because we're going to have to clip the other, the factory ends don't fit. One of them does, one of them doesn't. So we're going to have to clip this line, strip the line, and then do so wire clips these guys here. We're going to have to put these on the line and then crimp these and solder them with some factory line so that we get a good connection. So that's up next. Okay, so this is ready to go back in the slot. So if we pull out our 12-volt socket wires, there's two of them, one black, one blue. And like I said, these factory slots don't fit the slots on the back of this new charger. So what we're going to need to do is clip these wires and put them into a connector and get them set for this one. I did figure out that this right here actually unscrews and there's a fuse inside of there. So it's a lot of wire. I don't like having that much extra wire. It feels really unclean. I wish they'd gone further away from that. But what I'm going to do is clip this behind the fuse just for that extra bit of protection. It makes me feel better having it in there. So I'm going to clip this, strip the wire. On this side, I'm going to clip off these two factory connectors right here from the 12-volt socket. Clip these, strip those wires, and then we should be ready to connect them, and then I'll power things up and see if we are able to charge our phone off of it. Okay, after trying to power it up, I figured out that it is not, well, there's something learned here. So this fuse, you can hear it rattling around. This is a terrible design. The fuse that drops in here, you have to hold the camera. If you untwist it, this thing is just rattling around in here. It's really poorly designed for an inline fuse. And so even when it was here, the wire would come just the tiniest bit loose and the fuse would disconnect and it would power down, which is just awful design work. So I'm just going to bypass the fuse. I hope I don't live to regret that, but I think this is just really stupid design. So I'm just going to shorten up these cables a bit, and then I pulled the crimps off, threw them over there. So I'm going to redo this, recrimp it, but it should power up just fine once I have solid connection in there and don't have that stupid fuse rattling around inside. So stand by while I clip this line, remove the fuse, and then put a new crimp onto that end, and then we'll see if it powers up consistently. Alright, so this is what it's looking like with the fuse line bypass. So I just cut out about, I don't know, maybe 6-8 inches or so from that bypass the fuse line. So we're clipped into the back right here, goes up the line, put the crimps into our 12-volt socket piece. So let's go ahead and set her here. Now if it's working, it will light up in blue. So let's see if we got this right. Key in there. Yep. So go to accessory, turns on. Let's go ahead and try plugging in my iPhone. Over here, so it's just a regular charging cable. And there's our charging symbol. So we're good to go. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the glue that I use, some 3M glue, and put it around the border, and then go ahead and clip in our active arrow and our cruise control, and then we'll put this back in place, and we'll be in good shape for this charger. And then I'm going to need to get my Dremel tool and open this up a little bit more so that we can put in the second charger. So we'll have 2 USB-A's and 4 USB-C's in our center console, so we can charge anything and everything we want to with this setup, which is really exciting. Alright, so we have our spot for our first one. Here's the spot for our second charger, and as you can see, the factory cigarette lighter, it does not fit. So ran some power in here. I've got my Dremel tool right here. So we'll just very carefully and slowly grind this out until it fits this, and then you already saw the metal piece that goes right here. I've already ground that out, and it's just paint's just drying right now, so it should be ready to go pretty soon. So I'm going to be working on that for a minute. go ahead and do a test fit. Push some of this off. Okay, so we've got part way there. We were able to get the lower piece in, but not the upper piece. So just do lots of test fits. Don't overcut. Just very slowly go at it. We'll keep doing this 3-4 more times until this fits in. Alright, so it passes the test fit. Got it in, but the problem is now I also need to make sure that the upper piece, the metal piece that sits in this little tray, aligns with this lower piece. So I'm going to put my face shield over here, clean this out a little bit, and then I'm going to go get so see if the metal upper piece is dry, and then we'll see if those two line up. And so this metal piece still not dry, so I stuck it out in the sun for a few minutes to keep going. So we're going to go ahead and put the adhesive on the upper piece. Now the stuff I use actually has worked pretty well for me. This may not be the right application for it, but it's this 3M black weather strip adhesive. So I bought it years ago to fix something on our minivan. It was a piece of weather stripping coming off, but I've actually found it's a pretty good bonding material between just two forms of plastic or plastic and something else. And it's semi-permanent, so if you need to get it off, you can get it off. It's a little bit malleable, but the best part is if you get it in the wrong place or need to strip it off, you can just get a little bit of paint thinner and it will take it right off without taking paint off. So it's a pretty versatile thing, so just make sure you keep a really fine tip. Just put a really tiny bead around the border here, and then you should be able to get this in place and it'll look really nice and clean. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on and show you what it looks like after it's in. You can see I'm putting just a little tiny bead of this stuff. You have to go really slow because it kind of comes out a little bit chunky. It's kind of like a tar in its consistency. And just kind of slowly, it doesn't dry too fast, so you've got plenty of time. Take your time, go slow around, because what you don't want to do is go too fast and then end up with big globs of this tar-like stuff. That's what happened the last time I did it, and it looked terrible, so I had to use the paint thinner to clean it back off again. Just take it nice and slow, get a nice bead around here so that this thing doesn't pop out or rattle. I know most of these things, these clips have broken off, so it's really hard to find one with 4 intact clips anymore. They're just really brittle, and so this is another way that you can supplement the clips that you don't have and keep this unit from popping out or rattling around. I need 2 hands to finish this off, so I'm going to go off camera. Okay, bead is placed. I'm going to go ahead and gently set that in and then just press it into place so that you get good adhesion. We'll go ahead and close this dust cover, and then that's what it looks like. It looks really clean. Love how that turned out, and it looks like it was built that way from the factory. Way better than just using your factory 12 volt and then sticking some awful thing from, you know, Amazon or Temu or wherever you buy your cheap electronic accessories from. I'll clean this up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and just press down a couple more times, make sure that it has good adhesion all the way around, and that's what it looks like. So I'm just going to wait till this piece is dry, and then we'll go ahead and do the second one. Alright, we're going to wire this up now and get it all ready so that we just need to plug in the end clips. So the end clips will come up through here and plug into the lighter before we set it in place. Actually, they'll need to go through the ring first, so we'll go up through, it's hard to do one-handed, go through the ring here, then put that up through there, and then when we get the metal plate, we'll put that on top and then put that on top. So that's the stacking order. But for right now, don't need to worry about that. What we need to worry about is getting these wires. So I clipped the blue wire, and there's actually 2 black wires here. So I'm going to strip all 3 of these. The black is your negative, blue is going to be our positive. So we're going to get those in and then get those crimped into this like that. And then we should be wired up and ready to get the stacking order set so we can get this in place and then start putting together all of our paneling again. Okay, I went ahead and got these crimped. So blue wire to red positive. The 2 black wires, just wound them together, put them in and crimp them. So the tool you need to crimp, in case you're not familiar with it, is something that looks like this. You can see this blue dot is for 16 to 14 gauge wires, and then you just need to buy a set of, where'd they go? These right here. So these are available at any hardware store, automotive store, or electronics store. They're super easy to get, they're really cheap. So they just have an outer plastic or rubber kind of sleeve, and then inside is metal. So you just put one end of the wire in here, and then you get your crimpers and just stick the color that's associated with the right gauge. And if you don't have the right color, for some reason the coloring's off, it has the guide here. So this size of gauge is about 16. This is roughly about a 12, maybe 12 to 14 gauge wire. So this blue one works fine. So just put it in here, crimp each side, and then slide the other side in, and then crimp the other side. So you can see there's 2 crimp marks on each of these, one for each side of the wire that's coming in, and that provides a really solid connection up here. Now, I realize I didn't do that in the right stacking order. That was on purpose. This is just a test to make sure we're powering up. So I'm just gonna grab my key, stick it in. Now, cool thing, these do not power up when the ignition is not on. You have to go to at least accessories, so if you're worried about draining your car battery, that shouldn't happen. And we're blue, so we're powered up over here as well. It's good news. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug this, wait for this piece to dry, and then I'm going to stack it up. I'll put a little bit of glue right here when it's done. Take that out, it's really loud. I'll take that out, and then we should have 2 very handsome looking charge ports. So I put a semi-gloss on this piece, the center dash. I hated it. It looks really cheesy. Looks like outdoor furniture, or I don't know, something not becoming of a 3000 GT, that's for sure. So I went ahead and just used the same color that I'm using on the rest of the interior. It's more of a flat black, and it's drying, so it's still a little bit of a wet look. It's coming together. Also just finishing up the interior piece, and then also the timing covers. Got those cleaned up, just put the sand free on them, and then I'm going to color code these as well. So they're nice and black. Look good like the rest of these trim pieces before they go back in the engine. There's our new exhaust system. I haven't figured out if I'm going to be able to get that on or not. Those bolts on the catalytic converter are pretty rusty, so might be a no-go. Might have to send it to a shop. So here's our finished product with the USB chargers, 1 and 2. Center console's good. It's got cleaned up quite a bit in here. I did a bit of trimming on the carpet. It's not wanting to stay put. This heavy vinyl backing keeps pushing it away from the wall. So I've got to find a way to make it adhere here. But got the side panel put in. Started stacking up the glove box area. So it is starting to look